Hey guys, BSG T2 Trek Fan 88 here. It's about 9 o'clock at night here on February 27th, 2015, and as you probably already heard, Leonard Nimoy, most famous for portraying the one of the titular characters of Star Trek, Spock, has passed away at the age of 83. His cause of death was the um, end-stage chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. That's a mouthful. But I'm not here to talk about that. The man, what can I say? Obviously, I'm a science fiction fan. I respect Star Trek and its legacy, both the original series and the new one, for obvious reasons. This is this is pretty sad. I never met the man. I don't. I'm not going to pretend to have, know more than the average fan does. But the man, at least I do, through the work that he's done, the humanitarian work that he's done. But also, you watch movies like Trekkies or Trekkies 2 or behind the scenes features, and especially with Star Trek, you hear a little bit for Doctor Who and Firefly. But Star Trek's been that one show where even if you're not a fan of science fiction, you always know about it. And because of this, because of its widespread knowledge, if you will, basis, just you look at some of the stuff this guy has done and what he has to say, and he was honest back in the day. He has said, much like William Shatner and a lot of other Star Trek alumni, they love the fans, they respect the fans, but like anybody who's in the spotlight, you have that fan that kind of goes a little too far or has no filter or isn't isn't willing to hold back in lieu of anything. No, they go all out. And you know what? I understand that, and I know a lot of friends who are like that. But he did say that at the end of the day, in oh so many words in that particular interview, you know what? If I'm known for being Spock and Star Trek, there are worse things to be known of. So, I of course had to do a video on this. Being a science fiction fan for pretty much all my life. I started becoming a Trek fan before middle school. I saw a few episodes of TNG when it was new on the air, and then of course you grow up a little bit and then you follow the mythology and you read about how there's the original series and then there is TNG, DS9, etc. Voyager, Enterprise, and then you have the films, which I also grew up with. I remember vividly, being a kid where Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home was the first Star Trek movie I ever remember seeing. It wasn't in theaters because that came out I think '87, before I was born, but I just remembered it because it was the one with the whales, and then of course you grow up and get older and you watch the other films and watch the show. But yeah, so one of the greats when it comes to science fiction has passed away, and it's sad. And he will be remembered for being, one of the best. There's a lot of actors from Star Trek, from any form of entertainment, that they don't like all the attention. They don't like being not typecast, but they're just known for just that one thing. Like you mentioned Patrick Stewart. Obviously, he's done a lot of stuff, a lot of stage and screen, television, of course, Captain Picard. But he's also been Captain Ahab. He's also been Ebenezer Scrooge. But he's primarily known as Captain Picard. Leonard Nimoy has done a lot of charitable work. He's done a lot of television. He's done a lot of plays. But he is known as the titular character of Spock. And I was at work today, and I forget what time it was, but my phone lit up with like 5 text messages, a CNN alert, and an ABC News saying Leonard Nimoy has passed away. And I was like, what? Like, I knew he was in the hospital last week, but I thought he was getting better from what I read. But obviously, that isn't the case. But like I said, this is going to be a long video. I'm not going to pretend to know more about him than I do. I mean, honestly, besides Spock and a few other characters that I do know him from, I couldn't tell you where he was born and what his first appearance was. I could easily Google it right now if I want to, but that's not what this video is about. A great character has been lost. This man, you know, he was one of the quintessential aspects of Star Trek, especially when you think of the original series and what Spock was on that show as the primary alien, you know, a Vulcan, which of course are always very serious. They don't find anything humorous or sad. They have no emotions. They think of everything being logical. You know, I myself always thought of if people ask me, you know, oh, if you could be any relate to any character or species on Star Trek, it was usually either a Vulcan or a Romulan, just because of how deadpan and serious and logical I would be. So anyway, I'll end the video here. You know, it's sad. You know, I wasn't old enough to appreciate when Jimmy Doohan passed away, Scotty, and DeForest Kelley when he passed away. You know, I've always known of them and knew that they weren't around anymore and they passed away a few years ago. But you know, to lose Leonard Nimoy, that, you know, this sucks. And I'm not the only one that feels this way. There's a huge community of people who don't just watch Star Trek; they watch anything science fiction, and the science fiction community right now is feeling pretty low, and rightfully and respectfully so. Um, and he, for one, will be missed as far as I'm concerned. Leonard Nimoy, you certainly lived long, but you weren't just prosperous for yourself, you were prosperous for humankind. Live long and prosper.